Hey Screamers, Lewis here from FRIGHTTOUR. I'm back with our second review of the 2022 FRIGHTTOUR. I'm talking about a haunt located in Shelton, Connecticut, which is about a 20-minute drive from our previous haunt, Fright Haven. If you're looking for the review, it's tagged here below, right here. So without any further ado, let's talk about this haunt that you guys have been trying to get me to experience for years. I mean, the attempts have been relentless. It has been email after email, comment after comment, push and shove after push and shove. And finally, I have listened to you guys. Oh yes, I am talking about finally getting to visit a haunt that all of you have been majorly recommending for me to experience. I'm talking about Legends of Fear. But before we get into the good stuff, you guys know what time it is. It's time for you to subscribe to this YouTube channel and, of course, ring that bell. When you ring that bell, you will be notified of each and every review from every attraction that I visit. Yes, if you live in the Northeast, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, you need to subscribe to this channel and you need to ring that bell. Hell, get your friends, get your family to subscribe to this channel and ring that bell, because I will tell you guys where you should be spending that money, that green stuff, that best scream for your buck, okay? I will tell you where those locations are. I am not going to sugarcoat it for you. It is going to be truth, honest, sometimes brutally honest, and totally unbiased. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe and click that bell. Do it now. This 2-attraction haunt is located on a farm in the middle of nowhere. Getting there, I wasn't sure where I was really driving to. The streets were dark, they were tight, they were windy, they were weavy. Literally had no idea where I was. And then all of a sudden, bam, there's Legends of Fear. Now, this attraction boasts a haunted hayride that is approximately 30 minutes long, and a haunted trail which takes up to 45 minutes for you to complete. So after all of your eager to experience messages, your pushiness, and finally getting there, I was so excited and ready to begin the night. The grounds of this place, as you can see from the video here, are, quite inviting, and I actually like the bonfire, the concessions, and then that creepy little, I don't know if you would call it miniature life, I guess in the middle size, mansion that they have. It's just great with all the pumpkins and all the scenery. So I was ready to jump in, ready to go head first into this and experience what you guys have been recommending to me for a long time. So let's get right to it. So we begin our night with the Haunted Hayride, and those who have been following me for years know that if I ever go to a place that has a hayride, it is usually my first stop of the night. And the reason why is because I do not take a lot into expectations for a haunted hayride. I don't expect much from them. There's a lot of outside influences and obstacles that can ultimately contribute to a hayride success or failure. You're outdoors, lighting, weather, all the other people that are on the wagon with you, the actors, the distance from wagon to scene. It just has a lot of moving components. So going into this, I really wasn't expecting much. However, my mood was immediately brought down when I got in line and I waited over an hour. It wasn't that crowded. There wasn't that many people there. It was opening night. It was September 24th. It was their opening night. The parking lot, I think, from how they had it set up, wasn't entirely that full. I really couldn't see much because the parking lot is really dark. But there weren't that many people there. Why did the hayride take that long? It shouldn't have taken that long. In fact, I know why. Because they were sending wagons at half full and below half full. Yeah, that's right. The wagons were like the Titanic life-saving boats that weren't filled to capacity, okay? So essentially, instead of being packed in like a sardine, you were able to spread out like Patrick the Starfish, which I didn't mind. But after waiting an hour and seeing the wagons go half full, I would have rather have been packed in like a sardine, get through the hayride so I could experience the trail, and about halfway through waiting in line, I was like, well, damn it, I should have just bought the trail if I'm not really going to take into consideration anything for the hayride. Essentially, I should have just bought a ticket for the trail because they do allow you to do that. You pay $27.50 for the trail and then $27.50 for the hayride. You can buy the combo ticket. The VIP pass, I believe, which is $80, I was not buying that whether it was crowded or not. That is just insane for 2 attractions. Ain't happening. But once on the hayride, my mood left me and I was thrown into the world of Halloween and horror. The attraction itself is nothing to essentially scream about. It's nothing to be angry about. It's your run-of-the-mill basic hayride. Large sets and scenes scattered throughout the trail. The one thing that I did like about this place, and I don't know if it's because they've watched my reviews and they have seen me recommend that places that have a hayride to use the dark woods in their favor. Bravo to you guys, you actually did. There were a lot of big animatronic props that were scattered throughout the dark woods that, with lighting and sound, popped on at the right time and ultimately scared the crap out of the hayride. It was a great touch. It was really nice. Most notably, there were 3 sections that I really liked. Those 3 sections were the Voodoo Skull section. It was glow-in-the-dark. They had the 12-foot skeletons from Home Depot. They had skeletons climbing up trees, basically a whole bunch of different kind of hanging skulls and skeletons. It was really, really cool. Not much really went on there. They had another section where you had a bunch of blinking, glowing lights in the trees. Again, nothing happened there. We were easily distracted by the lights up in the trees. And then the best scene, in my opinion, which was the church. Now, the church is this life-size, full-blown church with a ringing bell and a gigantic cemetery across from it. Now, you're immediately drawn to the cemetery because it's the first thing that really comes into view, especially if you're at the far back of the hayride, which that's where I was. And you kind of focus on the hayride at first. And then the church comes into view and you hear the ringing bell. And I think there was also thunder and lightning. Not entirely sure. But then you see this line, okay? And this line, you're like, wait, do we get off here? Is this the end of the hayride and then we walk the rest? Is this the trail? And you're like, no, dummy. You were seeing people get off the hayride wagon itself when you were getting in line. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Maybe we get off and then back on. I'm like, no, that's too much. Duh, it's the haunted trail. So literally the trail and the hayride kind of skim each other, okay? Now, you would think, okay, all of our attention's over to the left. Something should be coming from the right. No, nothing does. There was nothing there. Nothing happened. It was really upsetting. I was waiting and hoping and praying that something would happen and looking for it because, you know, I do this a lot, so I kind of expect those things and I can see opportunities, and nothing happened. So a little let down there. But, you know, the hayride itself wasn't really that bad. I mean, it was just a basic hayride. Nothing to really write home about or nothing to write an angry letter about. It was just a run-of-the-mill hayride. So far, guys, I have to say, after the hayride and after what I experienced, your letters of recommendation, eager recommendation, and basically threatening letters to go to Legends of Fear do not stand up to what you guys told me so far. So, I hope the Wooded Trail is much better. And on to that next. I kid. I know you guys actually haven't threatened me, but it would still be funny if you guys actually did threaten me to go to a place and I had to go to it. But, you know, you can maybe do that one day if you want. But going on to the Haunted Trail, got in line for it. I was told it takes 45 minutes. This was about 10 o'clock. So I'm like, oh, Christ, I'm going to have to drive an hour back to the hotel. I'm not going to get out of here until 11. Thank you, hayride. Anyway, once inside, it was a very nice, long, detailed attraction. It kind of gave me vibes from like Markoff's Haunted Forest. You walk in, and when you first get in, you walk over this bridge. It's all lined with pumpkins, and you walk through like this wooden kind of archway, and then you're on top of like this kind of like this hill, and you're overlooking the entire attraction. It was really nice. You could hear the screams, the sounds, you could see the lights. So I kind of was brought back to like my moment at Markoff's where I essentially wanted to sleep in the forest. I wanted to do that here. This Wooded Trail was dark. When I say dark, I mean dark. D-A-R-K. Dark. I am so glad that I came to this place by myself. I mean, if I had come with my friends, they would have been thoroughly enjoyed it, but sometimes I bring my mom with me, and my mom, hands down, would have probably just laid down and, you know, just cried in the middle of the forest because, A, it was really too dark, and sometimes there were, like, really steep and deep inclines, and she's older now, and, you know, that gives her trouble. So essentially, I'm just really glad that I was by myself because I was really able to kind of take my time experiencing this attraction. I walked at a nice pace. I wasn't rushing. I wasn't really slow. So I really just took in the overall atmosphere that was this Wooded Trail. I think it's called the Hollow. So you're walking through, and there's a bunch of different, you know, scenes that you encounter, like this. I think it was like there was like a funeral home with a whole bunch of caskets inside. There were vampires. There was witches. There were jack-o'-lanterns and scarecrows, chainsaws and sawmills, the church and the cemetery. It was just a wooded trail full of everything and anything that had to do with Halloween and horror. It was nice. The only thing that I would say is that the attention to detail on the outside of the facades of these scenes was a lot more elaborate and thought out than the detail and throughput on the inside. Most notably, the casket scene. Once inside that house and once thrown into the casket scene, I think that's where it was. I can't remember in detail. But essentially, it felt like plywood painted black with a bunch of caskets just laying around. So I was like, you lured me in, and then you knocked out the punch. There is no punch. I was like, oh, well, that's kind of upsetting. The only place that really had, the detailed, elaborate setup followed from start to finish was the sawmill. That was one of the best things I have ever seen in a haunted attraction was this sawmill. You walk up, you walk into it, there's like moving buckets and everything that are getting like lifted up and down, and you come into this like one section where this guy like jumped down from the top into this like gigantic hole, and then you walk down this ramp and it's like the conveyor belt where they put like the logs on, and they have the sawmill itself, but it's like all bloody and it's actually spinning and rotating. I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, this is so freaking cool. This is like a real life, like full blown sawmill. So if they could take everything that they did with that scene and like put it into the church, the funeral home, I guess that's what it was, I don't know, the witches scene, everything like that, it would essentially be 10 times better. I think there was even a carnival and circus. That was really cool because they actually had a Ferris wheel and everything like that. Yeah, there was. They actually had like an 8-year-old kid working it. That was really, really cool. But overall, the Haunted Trail was nice. It did take me a really long time to get through, and eventually towards the end, I kind of did, get into a conga-style situation with the two groups in front of us, but it was all right. You're outside, you're having fun, it's no big deal. Overall, would I say that this attraction was one of the scariest, one of the most terrifying attractions I had ever been through? I'd say it's in the middle. I would say there were definitely a few good scares. The actors in this attraction were on point. They delivered their scares promptly and at the right time. Loud noises, there was dark, there was fog, there was tight spaces. They used the nooks and crannies, the dark corners, hiding places. It was a good attraction. Guys, I have to say, I'm at a loss of words for you guys recommending Legends of Fear for me for so many years. And I finally go, and I'm kind of scratching my head as to what you guys have experienced. Did I go on a horrible, wrong night? Should I have went on a more crowded night, maybe when they had more actors, or they got into the swing of things, and they worked out all the bugs and kinks, if there were any? I have no idea. Tell me in the comments below what you guys have experienced at Legends of Fear, because right now, as it stands, Legends of Fear for me is getting a 3 skull out of 5. That's right, 3 skulls out of 5. It was your run-of-the-mill haunt for me. It wasn't anything ultimately that terrifying or spectacular for me. Would I recommend it to anyone in that area compared to its neighbor, its 20-minute neighbor? Oh yes, most definitely. If you're in that area and you're gonna do a haunt, you might as well do Legends of Fear over Fright Haven. That's a definite. Well, guys, that is it for the second review of 2022. I know that many of you have been writing to me for years and years to get my ass to Legends of Fear, are probably scratching your head and wondering what the hell happened. Let's talk it out. Post in the comments below. Let's have a conversation. Let's get through it together. We can talk about what I experienced, what you've experienced, and go from there. Don't worry, this will have group therapy. But that's not it. This is not it. We still have 7 different locations to go to. I might even squeeze in an 8th. Who knows? I have done crazier things before. But we have 7 more locations to go to. 3 more states. New Jersey, where we're located. Pennsylvania and Maryland, including our top haunt, the Nevermore, which is in Baltimore, Maryland. It won our coveted Fright of the Year last year. You guys need to get on our website. Yes, I don't know if you guys know this, but FRIGHTTOUR does have a website. It's FRIGHTTOUR.com, 2 T's. We also have a Facebook page that you guys can like. And of course, you need to subscribe and like the videos here and ring that bell so you're notified of each video review as it comes out. So until next time, guys, Happy screaming.